We're going to be making our first Adobe Animate project, and so I want you to navigate. We're going to create new. Let's go for the high definition. Then we're going to hit create. We are now going to navigate on the right side to the windmill. We're under animate characters and objects. If you're going down from the top, clicking characters, so animated, props and objects, and there's our windmill. And I'm just going to drag it onto the stage, and that white area is called the stage. What I have to do here is I have to right click on it and I have to break it apart. What I'm going to do is there's actually a few windmills that are on top of each other, and I'm going to break apart and I'm going to get rid of the one in behind. And so I've got the tower and I've got the one in front, and I've deleted the other one. What I want to do is I actually want to put anything that I move on a separate layer. So I'm going to click that windmill on the front, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to cut it. I'm then going to go to another layer, so I've hit that plus button down below where the timeline is. I've added that layer, and I'm going to paste the layer that I just cut from the one layer. I'm going to paste it on the other layer. I'm hitting the eyeballs there just to verify that I do have those things on separate, distinct layers, so they're not on the same. It makes life a lot easier, and you see that eye with the line through it? It means I can't see it if I click it, and then when I click it one more time, I can see it, and that's how I can verify that things are on the appropriate layers. The timeline, I'm going to go down and I'm going to increase, I'm going to put in a keyframe, and we can see that I've dragged the mouse down, I've put in a keyframe, and then what I'm going to do is I have to transform that particular windmill. That's the only thing that we're going to animate. So I go to transform, and then I go off to the right, and I change the rotation, and then anywhere in between the keyframe at the beginning, number 1, and the one that I put in at around 260, I create a classic tween. And then while I'm in there, I'm in the in between, in the tweening part, off to the right, I can adjust the animation. I can adjust the way it rotates. I can adjust how many times it rotates. And that's what I'm doing there in order to get that effect right there. And then I hit the play button down below, just above my timeline, to verify that everything is the way I want it to be. So just to recap, I made a keyframe further on. I do that by right-clicking on a keyframe, and I put it in there. And so right now, just to do it again, I've inserted another keyframe. I right-click anywhere in between, and I go to create a classic tween, and it continues on. All right, and so I want you to be familiar with what this classic tween is. All right, it is the more difficult part. Right now what I'm doing is I'm on the background, and I'm just changing the color of the background. I would like you guys to create a stage and to change the setting a little bit. Right now what I'm going to do is, if you get that done, I'm happy. But what I would like you to do is I would like you to add another object, because really we want to bring different elements together to create an animation. And so to get a 4 plus, you have to do a little bit extra. You can't just have the windmill rotating. What I would like you to do is I want you to bring in any object, the bird, and what we're going to do here is we're going to animate that bird. And I think what I've done there is I put in a blank keyframe. So then what I had to do is I copied it, and I'm going to paste it to the next one. I've made a mistake there, and so I put that blank keyframe. So I've deleted all the frames other than that first one. I'm going to go on my timeline. I'm going to drag it down further. Let's go right there. So I right click on that particular thing and I put insert keyframe. And if I've done the keyframe and it's not a blank keyframe, it will bring the object from frame 1 and it will bring it to the next keyframe. And that's what I wanted. So on keyframe 1, it is off to the side of the stage. And on that one, I've just dragged it kind of right on top of the windmill house. All right. And then at the end, I've inserted another keyframe. So now I've got 3. So I want them to fly off. And so really, I've just placed them. Insert one keyframe, insert another, and a third one, and I've just placed them. And then I go anywhere in between those, and I right-click, and it says Create a Classic Tween, and they have done the individual movements, but I can put it wherever I want, and I can make it any size. Once again, I'm going to right-click anywhere in between my 2 black dots. I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to put Create a Classic Tween. I've got to do it one more time here. And there, it's going to, then the computer will do the animation for me. It's like, okay, I know where you want it to be in one frame. I know where you want it to be in another. And I'm going to put those elements and I'm going to smooth it out for you. I'm not happy with that bird in front. And so when it is the top layer, you can see the name of the bird. And so if I drag that below layer 3, like I'm doing right now, just grab the layer and drag it. Now when it animates, I will see the windmill blades rotating in front of the bird. And that's what I was looking for. All right, well, he's going to land there for a second. And then he's going to take off. And I've got him going smaller so it looks like he's flying off into the distance. And we used the free transform to make him smaller. And that's the button up to the top left there. It looks like a little square with a cursor in the middle. All right, so I'm pretty happy with that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to save this animation. I probably should have saved it earlier, but I didn't. And then that's an FLA file. That is not the file you're going to give to me. That is the file in Animate. What you're going to do is you're going to go up to the top there and you're going to hit that Publish button. It is the box with the little arrow coming out, and I want this as an MP4. If it doesn't work, you can give it to me as a GIF. My preference is for an MP4. So right now it's exporting. Now depending on the speed of your computer, this might take a while. GIFs are actually far quicker, but MP4 is far more useful for some of the applications that we're going to do. Like let's say we wanted to put this into a video in Premiere Pro. We wanted to make a bumper for BNN, then it really has to be an MP4. Media encoder, that ME, it has to pop up when we're exporting it as an MP4. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get a progress bar inside of media encoder. It does take a while. I sped this up, and I've got a 3-minute tutorial, but some students struggled, so I thought that I would slow it down and give slower instruction, because this is the first animate you're going to do, and we did jump in fairly quickly. Shape tween would have been simpler, but these are the kind of elements that I'm looking for. All right, so there it's exported. That is the MP4 that I'm looking for. If I click the blue text, it will take me to the file location. I would like it if you named it appropriately. And then that is what you're going to put in the Dropbox. It is the MP4. I've actually given it as part of the rubric to not hand me an FLA because it happens a lot. And then if I'm not at a computer that has Adobe Animate, I can't open the file. And it's important that you guys are familiar with exporting and using different file formats.